Hey everybody, welcome to our first session of our new V5 Chronicle, the Baali Chronicles. Tonight we have Nate as Lamont Gale, Sean tonight playing Preston Caulfield, and beneath me on the other side of the dice roll we have Jeff playing Sullivan Ashcroft. Now all of our players tonight are actually playing Baali, but they all have different cover stories, but they're all part of the same brood. So Nate's character Lamont is posing as a Toreador tattoo artist. Sean Preston was a former Toreador anti-tribute that got re-embraced via the Baali by Jeff and Nate's sire and is also posing as a Toreador. Jeff's character Sullivan is actually just posing as a caitiff, and his mask is an archaeologist, if I'm not mistaken, yes?
Yes, I'm a consultant, an archaeology consultant.
All right. As per usual for the first ep, let's do a quick introduction for each character by the players, and we will start going counterclockwise today. Which Sean, tell me about Preston a little bit.
Preston is a former Sabbat member. He was embraced Toreador anti-tribute, as Ray had said, former pack priest. So Preston is going to be facilitating a lot of the rite that we end up doing. Preston also spent a little bit of time in a Bahari cult. That's actually how he attracted the attention of our sire. During one of the Bahari rites, he heard a voice that was a child of the Outer Dark, and that kind of piqued his curiosity, his interest, and the fact that he was able to make that connection. Sire took notice of that, and when slowly was brought into the fold to become a Baali and ended up earning the re-embrace that way. But other than that, Preston is charismatic, a performer. He's a performer in his own life. Does a lot of acting, infiltration, stuff like that. The concept is basically like a cult leader type of personality.
Now, Preston has the misfortune of suffering from both the Baali Bane and the Toreador anti-tribute Bane, so that's a little rough. So he has the aversion to holy objects and handling them, and he also has the usual Toreador anti-tribute flaw that we all know and love, which is he has to have some semblance of uncomfortableness and pain around him that he has to kind of dig into whenever he can. So going out on to Jeff and Sullivan, tell us a little bit about Sullivan.
So Sullivan is pretty much a social predator, even as a mortal, and actually what attracted our sire to me or to Sullivan was the fact that he could maneuver through different social circles and keep his predatory nature under wraps, and he's been able to hide it for years, which is why here in the embrace. And he kind of, to complement what's going on with Sean's character, Sullivan is kind of a recruiter as opposed to the cult leader. So if we were ever to start a cult or whatnot, I would be the one to bring them in. He would be the one to convert them.
Oh, I'm sure there's going to be a cult involved at some point here.
Oh, it's going to happen.
I've got ideas.
And Nate playing Lamont, what's his deal?
Well, Lamont is at first appearance, he is a very typical, upper north side type of fella, tattoo artist, very attractive, very manipulative. People just like to be around him because he's cool and he's aloof, and he's a little bit dark. But in truth, he is a strict adherent to the cult, and he pretends very well to be a Toreador because he finds them to be comical and humorous, and he's just an all-around kind of shitty individual, but plays it off as very stereotypical, high-quality tattoo artist.
That's not nice to make fun of the Toreador like that. But that being said, there are a couple different types of Baali that, kind of meander through the world. You have your Nargali, which are pretty much the ones who are like, oh, Satan's our founder, and hail Satan, and worshiping the devil and demons and all that other crazy shit. Not what we're dealing with. Then you have the type of Baali who want to raise the children of the Outer Dark and bring them to the fore and unleash them upon the world and sit at their right hands as these lords of darkness. Then you have the Malakim. Malakim are those Baali who want to keep the children of the Outer Dark asleep for as long as possible until they're ready to let them loose. It's not out of any altruistic bent to save the universe. Universe is fucked. It's to really delay the coming of them until they're ready to take the fore. So, that being said, we have three Molakim-esque Baali in our midst. They are doing their rites, their sacrifices to not wake up the children, but keep them the fuck asleep until they're ready for them. So that's going to be an important note. It's not chaos for chaos' sake. It's not chaos to wake up the children. It's torture and horrible shit to keep them asleep. So that's something to be aware of. So, as we start out the night, everybody is already automatically at hunger of 1. I need you all to make a single rouse check for me to see how hungry you get as you reanimate your body for the evening.
Sweet.
All right, here we go.
I fail.
Let's see here. Lamont is good. And Preston and Sullivan both gain an additional hunger. So that puts you guys up to 2. So as you kind of come to your senses, as the night finally settles over Chicago, it's earlier in the day now since it's winter, roughly around the same time of year as right now. So it's February, early February. The sun starts to set roughly around like 5 or 6 usually. So in these nights in the winter, you actually find yourself waking up earlier, which is great. It gives you more time throughout the night to do your business. So the winter time is really a great time for you guys to be out and about. And as Lamont wakes up, as your body kind of comes out of this pseudo torpor that you fall into every time the day, comes into being, you find yourself no more hungry than you usually are. The beast inside of you is always hungry for a bit of blood, unless you try to completely sate it. But that aching, that hunger is still there, just a little bit at the edge of your awareness. There's nothing clamoring quite yet, but it's still present. For Preston and Sullivan, when you come to your senses, and the first thing that hits you is not the fact that you're waking up or the quiet and stillness of your haven or even the fabric underneath you as you sleep. It's literally you're brought to awaken by your hunger. You feel this hunger pain, not in your stomach like a mortal would when they're hungry and they need something to eat. This is through your entire body and your entire being. Dare I say it, in your blackened little soul that's shriveled in this shell that you call a body is just reverberating with this growing pangs of hunger as you wake up and the beast in you consumes that bit of blood to rouse you from your day sleep. You all wake up, and once you come to your senses a bit, and for Sullivan and Preston, push down the hunger a bit to kind of just put it in the back of your mind so it's not so much in the fore. You are all greeted by the familiar stillness of your haven. Now, as predators, you often have an instinctive sense of when something has come into your territory, when it has been disturbed. When you wake up tonight, it seems safe. Nothing that you can tell is out of place. There's no odd scents in the air. There's no taste when you breathe in the air. There's nothing you can see out of place when you start wandering or walking around your haven. So things seem per normal. Now, you have been told by Quincy Black, which has been kind of you guys' mentor that set you up in Chicago, helped you secure the haven you're in, this warehouse loft that's in Rogers Park, with some of the little tricks of bureaucracy that some of his ghouls managed to see to. He set you guys up, and he set you upon 2 main tasks. One in Chicago is to basically try to understand and uncover what exactly the cult of Shalim is outside of their connection to the Abyss and Losombra. 2 is to find out more about this cultivar cult that he's hearing about that supposedly worships some sort of sleeping being under Chicago. He doesn't know what it is. He knows that Chicago's kind of been home to ancients in the past. There was Menelaus here, and that's been evident that he's gone because Critias is starting to get a little unhinged from whispers that are floating through the court. There were rumors of Helena being around and their feud, but nothing too big or concrete. But now this idea of a third ancient possibly being beneath Chicago, that causes a bit of concern, and he wants to know more about that. This is how it's been laid out, what you've been sent here to do. I know you all have your own aims and goals you want to pursue in the city, but as you wake up tonight, this early February evening, what is it you guys want to get to?
Well, I will just get up and do the typical, clean myself and get dressed, wait for them to, get with the program as well. And then I'll just wait. I'll wait for them to be done and we can discuss.
Yeah. Get up, clean up, dress.
Okay.
Same thing.
All right. So you guys will basically take care of your evening hygiene, before you get ready to go out in the city. Make sure that you don't have any like stale blood smell in your mouth. You get rid of that. You check and see what the weather's going to be like out to dress appropriately to kind of remind yourself of, okay, I got to dress like a mortal in this cold, not that I'm undead and unfeeling. So you basically do your quick research, find out the weather's going to be like. It's going to be single digits. You get yourselves cleaned and groomed and dressed, and you all kind of settle into the living area, the primary gathering space for your loft, haven. Now, the haven itself, as a converted warehouse, has a lot of bare brick and exposed like supports and things of that nature. And as we were talking before, the rooms that you have aren't really rooms. They're more set up by room dividers that are just along the hardwood floor to keep you guys like a small bit of privacy, but nothing really too important or pressing. So the way it's set up with your small little sleeping areas that are secured, and you have your main like living area, your completely unused kitchen, and you have like a staircase that goes down to the basement where you guys have a little bit of a setup for your particular rituals and rites. As you are kind of moving around, getting everything ready and set up, you guys check the windows just to make sure there was nothing there, as just a regular course of security. I know that Lamont has a bit of a skill with security, so that's one of those things that you can just check on a glance and see that everything's okay. Nothing's out of place. Everything's where it's supposed to be. But probably about a half an hour into the evening, you guys are all settled in and ready to go.
Okay. Well, what's the evening look like, gentlemen?
Anybody else hungry?
Could eat.
There hasn't been a moment. Yes, of course.
We could hit up a meeting.
It's very cold out, so I don't know what day of the week is it, right?
It will say it's a Friday.
Okay. Well, there's got to be something happening out in the city. It is a Friday. I know it's February and it's cold, but people will stand in line for just about anything.
That's true. We could go hit one of the clubs.
You're on.
So in terms of club attendance and bar attendance, we're not going to really play with the COVID being an issue in Chicago.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah, so we're not worrying about that. It would make feeding incredibly hard. So effectively, it's a regular Friday night in Chicago. So you definitely got some clubs that are out there and are running, and all the bars are too. So now your presence in Chicago, you guys have a small territory, a small domain around your haven in Rogers Park. So you have a bit of a feeding ground that's technically your own, but it's not exactly the easiest to see to because you don't really have any clubs. It's not like you live in River North where there's like a bar down every street. This is a bit more scarce to find the neighborhood bars, but they are there. So you guys can go further into town, like one of the racks, like say Wrigleyville, or you can go down, farther down Clark. Mm-hmm. Definitely places you can go to grab some food if you want to stay relatively on the north side. Or you guys can go safaring somewhere else.
Oh, the rack would probably be a good bet because the rack's bigger now, right? In V5, it's like they expanded it.
Yeah, it's a pretty big setup, honestly, and there's you have a lot of different places that qualify as a rack, obviously. So you got that stretch down by Wrigleyville. You've got like parts of where the parks are at and the Magnificent Mile. You have small bits of the lakefront. So there's a lot of different places you can go to grab something that would be completely fine. But you do want to take care of staying away from specific areas. Like we know you don't go to Chinatown. You don't go to Berwyn. I don't know why you go to Berwyn, but I mean, unless you want to try to find Svengoolie, I don't know, but you wouldn't want to really go to Berwyn right now. But in terms of territories, there are some territories that kind of stay away from that sometimes overlap with a little bit of the rack. There's Bruja territory in the north side a bit, but they're not allowed to really take the rack that's up there in Wrigleyville. They kind of skirt it. So if you go, you want to be a little bit careful.
Are there any like rock clubs or metal clubs or goth clubs that we could go to?
Yeah.
Those are probably locations that my character would frequent.
Yeah, so you got the mainstays that everybody knows. You have the Cobra Lounge, you have Exit, you've got, for old time's sake, you got Neo, even though it's gone, rest in peace, Neo. So you definitely have a nice setup of different clubs you can go to, but those are the three like primary, just to think off the top of your head where you could go.
Exit's usually a good one. It's dark. There's a lot of little corners. I wouldn't see why that wouldn't be a fairly regular happening for our group, anyways.
Could be. And to be honest, if you guys want to start staking a claim there, that's not going to be out of the, not out of bounds. If that's a place you guys want to go regularly to have fed. And it would fit for both a Toreador and a Toreador tattoo artist. It's kind of like a good scene for you guys.
Yeah, I'll slap down a flyer from Exit. I'll be like, tonight's blah 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 night. Let's go do this.
Sounds good.
Works for me.
All right, so I don't see it being that much of a change in dress potentially for Lamont, given that his lifestyle and his mask as a tattoo artist, you kind of would fit in normally, just with the every night dress for you. Now, Preston, I'm not sure how Preston usually dresses. What do you think there, Sean?
Well, I'm going to have to put a shirt on, unfortunately.
Might have to.
So, I mean, I will dress in like appropriate if you're going to a rock club attire, but heavier clothing, like a heavier coat to blend in with the fact that it's fucking bitterly cold, like unreasonably cold out right now.
Yeah, it's pretty rough out there at the moment. What is Mr. Ashcroft dressed like?
Sullivan, because of his ability to adapt to kind of most social situations, he would probably have several different types of clothing depending on where they're going to help him chameleon better. So he would just dress in something appropriate for the exit.
I put my picture up for my character, so because I don't have the same, I can't edit my background like they can, so that's a pretty good idea. Tall, effeminate looking, very skinny, lots of weird tattoos.
Fair enough. So you guys get all set up for going out to exit. By the time you're ready, it's only going to take you like maybe another 10 minutes. So by the time you're ready, it's maybe a total of 40 minutes have passed since you guys woke up initially. So it's still like not even 7. You got some time before the clubs really get busy. So if you go now, like around 8 o'clock when you get there, there's going to be maybe like a handful of people. Really, especially on the weekend, in Chicago particularly, nobody that's anybody gets to a club before like midnight. So you guys have like the stragglers and like the over-eager wannabes that are going to the club early to get a good spot, not knowing that probably when the regulars get there, they're going to be kicked out of that spot anyways. So you guys have plenty of time to get around and do stuff. Now, how do you want to head towards exit? Uber will probably cost
I think
you
our car is probably a better choice for, because this is far enough outside the city where we can't take a train or anything.
Well, it's not that it's outside the city. It's just in a weird part of town that's not by trains. So
right, it's further south.
You can take the bus, but that'll take a while. You can Uber. It'll take probably $20 per trip.
No, I think we'll take the car in case we decide we want to bring someone home.
Okay. And since you guys have gone down there before, there are places for free parking around exit. So that's not a big issue. So it will take you a little time to get there, being that it's like a 7 o'clock on a Friday night. People are just starting to go out to get dinner. And so a lot of the roads are kind of jam-packed a bit. And especially with Chicago's practices in getting snow, it's not like you can just take a side street because the side streets are likely not even plowed right now. So as you start driving, you're sticking to the main roads. You are passing, all these hopping places as you're heading farther down south from where you guys are at. You hit on the expressway on 90, take 90 on down. That's the fastest way to get there. Hop off the expressway, get on North Avenue, and when you pass by exit, right you start passing it, on the right-hand side is where the bar is. Left-hand side, just a little bit down the street, there's a gas station. And then at the end of the block, right past exit, there's parking along the street there. So you pull on back, and there's some industrial parks. So there's like some garages back here, some delivery businesses. You can park in their driveways. Usually, since you guys have been around, nobody really tickets you on the weekends if you're parked in those spots because it's the weekend. So you find a spot that's within probably about a 5-minute walk from exit. Not a problem at all. You park the car, got a good spot. It's somewhere you can leave in a hurry if you have to. And you guys hop out and start heading down the street. Now, there is a thing. It is cold outside. You don't breathe. You don't have body heat.
Do we have to rouse the beast to basically get our mortal trappings working again?
Yeah, like your blush of life, your blush of health. Yeah, you kind of do. So it's be a rouse check, but it lasts for longer than like the normal scene. We'll have it go for a while. Call it here.
Man,
Rouse check.
Ooh.
just can't get that rouse check tonight.
What happened?
You're not doing good.
Did you kill somebody already?
Jeff's
Not yet,
good.
but we might be heading in that direction.
So this is the rouse check to basically assume your blush of health as you guys are walking from the car and into the club.
Okay.
So it's just a rouse check.
I am okay, sir.
So Lamont and Sullivan are fine, but Preston, when you start hopping out the car and you're seeing them start to breathe and the mist is coming from the mouths, because it's really kind of a big thing to not see that if somebody's walking, especially with how cold it is. You're like, crap, and you go to kind of focus yourself for a second to kind of rush the blood through your system to kind of feign this living continence. And as you do so, you feel the beast just rise up in you in your belly and just drain you a bit more. It takes more effort to actually assume this false humanity as you're walking down the street, and you find yourself looking at passersby. And the two of you, Solomon and Lamont, as you're walking with Preston, he's kind of in the middle, he slows up a little bit, and you watch a clubgoer walking from around the corner from exit to get to his car to get something, or maybe a pack of smokes, and you just stare just a little bit too long. And what you're watching is the person's neck, because they're doing like a soft jog, and so some of the veins are larger and puffier as they're kind of getting the blood to rush through their system. And you just stop and find yourself staring at it. And as you two look, his fangs are slowly starting to descend a bit.
I'll throw my scarf around his shoulder. No. You're gonna catch cold if you don't cover up, buddy.
That moment of him touching you and kind of wring you out of your stare, and like as your hunger is rising, kind of brings you back to the present. You touch your teeth with your tongue and find your fangs are starting to come down. You will them back up, reassert yourself. You're okay, but that hunger is just gnawing more and more at your stomach like a cancer at this point. You guys round the corner and start walking towards exit. There's no bouncer out front in exit. They're always inside. So when you walk up to the front of this small, dark building, you go through the first doors, and right as you walk in, to your left is the bouncer sitting on a stool. He looks up and sees you. He's got this long, like this, Jeff, remember this green mohawk, wearing his leather jacket, and a bunch of like spikes and studs all over the place. He'll look at you guys, just give you a nod, because you guys come here a bit as we were talking. So he recognizes you as regulars, doesn't bother to card you, just kind of ushers you in. Now, when you walk into exit, it's a narrow bar, right? You have the bar on the left-hand side that runs almost the entirety of the wall, like a good 40 or 50 feet deep. On the right-hand side, you have a couple of old like motorcycle shells that have been kind of sitting there for like seats with like small circular tables or tall tables right by them. So they basically made these motorcycles into seats you can sit on. A little farther back from that, towards the end of the bar, you have like a couple of your stereotypical golf arcade machine, a couple of small like shelves on the side of the wall to either side with some stools. And in the very back, there's a doorway that leads to a staircase that goes upstairs. Upstairs is another bar that still exit, but it runs the same length back, but there are more actual booths up there. There's a bit of there's a pseudo dance floor sometimes. On a Friday night, it's probably a dance floor. They've kind of pushed some of the tables off to the side, and it's this this chain link fence that blocks off part of it. And there's two bars. Yep, there's two bars up there. One a small one right as you get up the top of the stairs, and there's one further in the back that just runs off like maybe 10 feet of the wall. So there's more places to sit upstairs. There's darker corners upstairs. The downstairs is where everybody comes in. That's got the most traffic. What do you guys want to do?
I'll look.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Good. I'll look. I'll look over at Preston and be like, "Hey, why don't we get you upstairs, eh, buddy? Corner booth."
Yeah, like now, like stat.
I'll literally walk in front of him enough to where I obscure his face just in case, and I'll just be like, just focus on the back of my head at least till we get there, and I'll start leading him upstairs. Not that there's a whole lot of people here right now, but the scattered people that are here, I don't want him lunging at on the way upstairs. So
Right. So let me double
the
check
beast is a
something here.
motherfucker.
I've been in this position before. So
I've been in this position here all the time.
I'm going to go play some golden tea.
You go and play some of the golf game.
Did my hunger
literally-
go up
yeah.
again?
It did.
Yeah, to
To
3.
bring on the blush of life, it requires a rouse check. So your hunger's a 3 right now out of 5.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you
You
guys
might be the first one to frenzy, not me.
Good thing we don't have a salubri in our coterie.
Ooh,
That's true.
low blow, low blow. All right. So is Lamont going to stay downstairs while they head upstairs?
Yeah, I'll stay downstairs
Okay.
and I'll just put out the vibe and play some fucking golden tea. I'll buy a beer. I'll leave it sit on the little stool by the golden tea. And every once in a while, I'll give it a swig. But, I'm not drinking it. Just got to spend money to make money. So
Right. So down here, at least on the bottom floor, there are maybe only about 4 or 5 people in the bar so far. And some of these people are probably day drinkers that just stayed till after sunset. The bartenders, there's 2 of them working downstairs. Both of them are kind of like, you don't know them by name, but they're familiar to you guys. You guys come here enough to where you're considered regulars. They kind of know you by sight, give the usual beer or whatever drinks to you guys. And they're just kind of just chill with you guys being there. No, I guess, like uncomfortable attention, like every 5 minutes, do you need something? You good? They can let you be. Now, the other patrons in the bar down here, they're all human as far as you can see. You don't recognize any from courts that you have been to. You don't recognize any as vampires being around town. They're just a couple scattered, like I said, 1 or 2 day drinkers, and the rest are just people who came in early. Upstairs, when Sullivan and Preston make it up that spiral staircase and walk out, there's nobody tending the bar immediately to the right. It's too early for that. There's actually not even anybody up here for bartending, but some people have come up already and brought drinks up with them. Usually later on as the night gets busier, when it actually is kind of justified to have 2 sets of bar crews, they'll bring a bartender in probably like around 10 or 11 o'clock to man up here. So for right now, it's quiet in terms of staff. But there are 2 people in one of the far back booths. As you guys walk in, I'm so sorry, Sean, you smell blood in the air. For Sullivan, well, first off, both of you guys are bloodhounds. So the blood in the air has a bit of a, how should I put this? The resonance is sanguine. So sanguine resonance is very much a happy, addicted, horny, enthusiastic. It's energetic. It's an energetic resonance. And this is coming from this far back booth. So as you walk up, that smell hits you, and you have to basically extend your will not to have your fangs descend, but it's potent. It's in the air. It's coming straight from that back booth.
All right.
But there's nobody else you can see up here right now.
Who are the people in the booth? Like, what do they look like?
So the way the booths are upstairs are actually like small, they're not rooms, but basically there's a wall between each booth. It's like this old like plaster wall. So you can't really see until you actually get right up on it.
Is there a way that I could be like within sight of the people in the booth without it being like I'm going up to your booth? Like, is there like clearance like around it where I could be like up like is there a balcony looking down, or is it just
there's not a balcony? So the upstairs here is just 1 floor level, but there is a window at the far end, so that it'd be like right over the entrance of the club from downstairs that you can walk to. Like, oh, I'm walking to the window, blah blah blah, and you'll pass right by that booth.
Okay.
No.
So here's my plan for like how I wanted to approach this, like to feed tonight. And I'll just tell you what I'm looking for, and then I guess you just help me correct to make it realistic.
We'll make
whatever.
it fun, Sean.
Yeah. So what I want to do is I want to play the role of that like brooding hot guy in the club who's like out with his buddy for a night, and obviously something's going wrong. He's having a rough night. Maybe he got fight with his girlfriend, maybe they broke up, something like that. But like I'm also like noticing that this person, male, female, whatever, like out of the corner of my eye, and it's like there's that like glimmer that like, oh, maybe I'm kind of interested in you, like maybe you could save me from my bad day, like,
You're the tormented bad boy, and you need somebody to come
Yes.
help you out of your reverie. I got
Yes.
you. Is that the stage you're gonna take as you saunter your way down towards that window?
Yeah, I'm getting into character.
So you take a moment to kind of put on the face. You've already got your blush of health going, essentially, your blush of vitality, and you walk your way down. You've gotten your skin to where it's just a little bit pale, but still flush enough to make you look alive. You're breathing naturally, but again, that smell of blood is so fresh in the air. And you make it by that booth, head into the window, and just do like a soft glance over, and you see in the booth there's a woman wearing an exit shirt and an apron, probably one of the staff, and she's back against like the corner of the booth, laid back, and there's blood just coming down from her neck. And the booth next to her is this like, can't be more than, I'd say probably early 20s. Looks innocent. He's wearing like this nice button-up shirt. Has brown hair that's like really conservatively cut. The face is flush, obviously, because he probably just fed. There's a little bit of flecks of blood along his lips and just underneath his mouth. And when he looks over at you, he catches your eyes as you look that way, and he just gives you a wink. Now, having been in the city, you recognize this Malkavian. It's Son.
God.
And he leans in and gives this girl's neck a little a little lick, and you see the wounds just slowly seal back up. He didn't take enough to knock her out. She's just kind of like in the afterglow of the kiss. And as you walk to the window, he just kind of adjusts his shirt, wipes his mouth a little bit, actually takes her apron and just leans in, uses her apron to dab the blood from his mouth, pats her on the head, and gives you a smile as you walk to the window. Hi. Looking for somebody?
Just trying to get an early bite to eat, but I guess you got to wake up real early to get out in front of you, huh?
Oh, I was here as soon as I could. I needed a little snack. If you're hungry, you just kind of gesture towards her. I mean, she's here. She's ready to be tapped again.
I appreciate that. I'm not desperate, but I'm desperate.
Oh, I can see. I recognize the look in your eye.
You can smell your own, huh?
Something like that.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
Yeah. But he looks kind of, you see him scooch out the side of the booth. He leans over and kind of looks back, catches Sullivan's eye. You see him kind of give you a little, hey.
So I picture Sullivan being up at the bar, like sitting with his back to it and his arms up. And he'll just be like,
I didn't know that you hung with the clanless.
What are you going to do, you know? I mean, useful people are useful people to have around, right?
Yeah, no, I really couldn't put it better myself, to be completely honest. Speaking of useful people, can I ask you a question?
Of course you can.
So you know about this whole hubbub with these guests coming into town for Prince Jackson?
Oh, yeah.
What does your clan feel about that? What does your family feel like? I haven't really talked to Annabelle. I don't really know.
You know what? I think it's a wait and see approach. I think it's still unclear what the real intentions are. And
well, you know they can't be trusted, right? Like, I mean, you have to be insane.
well, come on. I mean, you can't trust anybody, can you? I mean,
you can trust
at the
me.
end of the day.
I am an upstanding Camarilla member, and I hold true to the values of our sect, and that's why I'm saying we can't trust. We can't trust these people at all. And I also, as you know, Primogen from my illustrious family, could use enterprising vampires, such as yourself. Shit. He looks over at the girl as she's slowly coming to. He just realized he said the word vampire.
I'm going to go and I'm going to slide in to her booth and throw my arm around her. And I'm just going to start talking to her to overshadow their conversation while she's coming to.
Yeah, she's still out of it. Like she's like not, she hasn't been drained enough to be like really like heady. So clearly either he gave her something beforehand or she was just high to begin with. So when you go and put your arm around her, she looks at you, recognizes you as one of the brothers, like, oh, hey, I was just meeting Jason, right? And Son's like, that's right, just meeting me.
How you
Anyways,
feeling? You look a little tired tonight.
maybe she should go to. You should call off, hon. And she's like, I don't. No, I gotta work. I'm okay. Just
I'll kind of put my hand to her forehead and be like, "Are you feeling a fever? You look a little flushed."
she kind of you go to touch like, hey, hands off. I appreciate the concern, but I'll be all right.
No touching.
Fair enough.
But
You'd be all right going down the stairs, like.
oh, actually, I was just kind of hiding up here until shift came up. I'm trying to do some side work, and you can see like across the bar across from where the booth is at. There's like she's basically cleaning the station and getting the glasses ready.
I'll stand up and I'll let her walk out, and I'll follow her if she's going back over to the bar. That's where I'll go, and I'll just kind of keep that light talk going to give them time to chat.
As she gets up and kind of Sullivan moves out of the booth to give her space to go behind the bar, which is literally just right across like the little walk area.
Yep.
Son looks at Preston and is like, and literally she goes to turn like around the corner from the bar as he goes like this. She's like, "Ugh." I'm just saying, man, take your shot,
Oh.
you know. But listen, I'm gonna keep you in mind. I got some work for enterprising members of the club that I think could do well and have promising futures. So can we be in touch? Is that a thing? You gotta want to get in on some of the pie, right? So
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
I mean, I came here looking for you. I knew this was your place, and I figure, hey, stop by, have a bite, get a drink, you know? And the girl's like,
Great place for that.
you want something to eat? Like, we can get some fries from the kitchen. And he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm oh, pats his stomach. I'm doing good. Thanks, hon. But we'll be in touch. I'll swing by or send somebody by to talk to you guys. All right?
Hey, sounds good. Yeah.
But I'm telling you. And he gets up and just saunters away. You see him kind of adjust his shirt, checks his wallet, and starts walking towards the stairs to go down. Lamont's playing the golden tee and hears somebody coming down the stairs, and you see Son walk out. He's wearing this nice green button-up shirt. Doesn't have a jacket with him. He didn't really bother to fully clean himself, so there's like a little drop of blood like right underneath his collar on his shirt that you can see. You can smell it from where you're standing. He just kind of looks at you, nods, and starts walking out the bar.
Yeah, I'll give him a little like eye raise. Like, yeah, I recognize you.
So we've got Solomon and Preston upstairs with the bartender. We just gonna chill and wait for people to show up? Or are you guys?
I'm gonna go and see what if anything happened up there. So I'm just gonna like let my quarter die, and then I'll,
Grab your beer.
I'll grab my beer and I'll walk up the stairs. And it's kind of as like I walk up the stairs, I'll kind of like give the beer a little like shake, 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 shake. Little spill here and there, just to
Right.
kind of get rid of it. It's like scraping my food into a napkin.
No, I got you. By the time you make it up, you've got probably about a good third of the bottle out, subtly splashed here and there. And really, given the stains in this stairwell, nobody's gonna think anything's
Right.
amiss by it. So you ascend the stairs.
Constantly wet.
Yeah, it's like most public bathroom is just always wet. Why?
Yeah.
So you get upstairs and you can smell the blood that was in the air. It's not incredibly pungent, but it's just there, right, like at the tip of your tongue. And you can see Preston and Sullivan. Sullivan's at the bar. He seems to be talking to a bartender that's behind the bar. She seems a little, like, kind of out of it. Just like tired. She's moving a little slower, more languid than you would expect.
Okay.
But they're the only three up here.
I'll come in and I'll sit at their table, and I'll set my beer down. So, a no-go upstairs?
What?
A no-go upstairs?
Oh, it's a waiting game.
The bartender just starts cleaning up the bar, doing some of the
Yeah.
getting some glasses ready, making sure that all the lime and the lemon oranges slices are cut up. You guys can take a booth that's a little farther away to actually have the private conversation. That's not an issue.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do that. My plan remains the same. I'm not trying to feed out this bartender because, like, from my perspective, the last thing I want is that psychopath Newberry's sloppy seconds.
Right.
Fuck that.
Yeah, I'll break off from the bar and head over to their booth as well.
Okay. Not a problem.
I don't know. Seems like a nice enough guy.
I don't see why you gotta talk mad shit about Sun. Sun's a great dude.
Oh yeah, super nice, very sociable.
It's when he's not sociable you gotta worry.
Seems like a nice enough individual. I mean,
Well, he's going to be in touch because he came here looking specifically for us. He says.
what did he want with us?
I'm not sure. He says he has work for enterprising young kindred in the city.
Well, if it's anything other than work I'm looking for, I can't even begin to imagine what it would be.
I don't know why he would have come looking for us. I mean, he clearly doesn't like Sullivan.
But does anybody in the city really?
Like Sullivan.
I mean, unless it's some shitty job that he wants to just dump on people that he perceives as morons.
Of course, that's exactly what
probably what it is.
So there's that.
But even morons got to come up somehow, right? If he sees us as desperate enough.
He knew you were going to be here, so if you're just going to sit here and wait, I mean, I guess I'll just I'll pull out my smartphone, right, and I'll just start fucking surfing the internet.
Okay. So
because I have nothing else to do, and I'm not the one who's hungry.
right, and you guys aren't really in a rush for anything at the moment, so you guys can hang out and just kind of chill for a small bit while you're waiting for people to show up. Now, after Sun departs exit, nobody else really shows up. Really, it's a bit early for people to come here and start really feeding, and you guys are here early to kind of get your dibs on those that are kind of by themselves. Now, the bartender's only up here enough to finish some of her side work, so she's getting basically the bar prep for when she has to come up later on and man it. Once she's done with that, she heads out, leaving just the three of you up here. And you can hear the music from downstairs. Now, there is a sound system upstairs, but it's separate. It's not usually punched into the music that's playing down at the main bar. Usually they play their own stuff up here. So you feel that thrumming of the sound kind of just reverberating through the floor at your feet. And as you all wait, you will occasionally see some people kind of filtering up here. One or two at first, like they just come up to see like what's up. Some of them are tourists, some of them are regulars, like, oh, are my friends here yet? They come up, walk up a little bit towards that main part of the room, see you guys in a booth, look around, see nobody else, and just head back out. Nobody really stays until probably around 9:30-ish, 10 o'clock, where you start getting more people coming through, and that gives you a bit of ample time to potentially get a bite on somebody. Now, there are two bathrooms upstairs here, right across from the booths you guys are sitting in. You've got your booth, and literally right in front of it are two small, like, broom closet-sized bathrooms. Just enough for a stall or, you know, a toilet, really, is what's there. Not even a stall. It's just a toilet and a door with a small little sink. Right on the other side of your booth is a staircase that goes underneath you, and that goes down to the main floor. That's usually kind of blocked off from downstairs. It's usually an exit-only type situation. Nobody's allowed to come up that. It's usually just for staff. It's a staff entrance, essentially.
Fair enough.
So it stays pretty quiet until it comes time for people to really start filtering up here.
So just to give you a little bit of an idea of how my character tends to operate, since there will be people coming up at some point, I'm going to pull out my little notebook out of my jacket and start sketching, because that's an easy way for people's attention to be attracted. Not, you know, absently like, I'm just here drawing. No one's going to look at my shit. Like, obviously, people will. So
you guys basically have the two artists. The one artist who's like, look at me draw.
Because I'm a douchebag.
I'm mysterious and pretentious. And then you have the, I'm so tormented. Come rescue me from my own sadness, vampire, and Preston.
Because I'm also a douchebag.
And Sullivan, who's just kind of like, hi.
Not quite a high, but a dork.
Yeah, man,
No,
we're putting out the vibe.
Right. Sullivan's going to fall into a very similar frame of social acting with these guys, just because he's a chameleon. It's what he does. He's that social predator. He's got to blend in. I'm the inviting guy. I'm like hey, how's it going, everybody? Come. You know?
See, always the recruiter.
So as the night goes on, more and more people start coming up here. You start getting some more common stragglers, and you start coming upon situations where you can definitely start separating people from either their friend group or from the general line of sight of the rest of the people up in the area. So is Lamont looking to feed as well? Or you just kind of along for the ride with these two?
So to give you some insight, the reason why I'm going for like the quiet guy that's just drawing is because I'm not actively hunting, but if I happen to catch a floater with my art, then I'll take one.
So
but I'm more concerned with them getting what they need because I'm hungry, but I'm always hungry.
Right.
And tonight I'm just taking a back seat.
And for Lamont, if you feed, it's going to be purely for the fun of it, to be completely honest, because at one hunger, the only way you can quench that is to kill somebody.
Right.
So opportunity may arise as you guys start grabbing more people to get like a dip just for the sensation and for the fun of it. But it's not really going to take the edge off, so to speak. For Preston and Sullivan, Preston mostly, this is actually like, I need to fucking eat something because I'm going a little hungry. So for Preston, as the first couple of groups come through, I just need you to roll your manipulation plus persuasion to see if you can kind of pull somebody away from the crowd. Essentially, this is your hunting pool for your predator type, because you guys aren't all of you sorority sisters?
I am a sorority sister for sure.
Yes.
I believe I am also a sorority sister.
So sorority sister, for those for those in chat who don't know, is actually a old school Sabbat nature or demeanor that I converted into a predator type for the Sabbat stuff that we wrote for V5. And I allowed these guys to pick from those, and they all kind of like sorority sister. It's kind of like scene queen, but it's a little more going with the flow, and instead of being a dominant persona in the scene. It allows you to blend in. It's like social chameleon.
You said manipulation plus what?
Manipulation plus persuasion.
Mine is charisma persuasion.
Is it charisma? Okay, use your charisma. I'm sorry. I forgot which one I put to it.
Gotcha. Charisma. I see it now.
That's not bad. You got a total of 3. Luckily, no crits. How about that? That would have been pretty bad.
I'm in 3 when it counts.
Preston manages to kind of, with his like brooding persona, pull aside this young college man. Boy, actually, it's probably can't be more than like 21 at the most. Like, he probably barely just allowed to get into the bar. But your persona just catches him. And he's wearing like these ripped blue jeans, gotta be cold as fuck. These combat boots that are unlaced. He's got a leather jacket on and like a band t-shirt. And he's just coming in from the cold. They probably came straight from downstairs because he's still shivering a little bit. But he sees you kind of doing this like tormented artist thing. And this evolves into him going, hey, can I buy you a drink? And you guys kind of go off to the first bar by the staircase for a bit. And as Sullivan and Lamont are watching, this guy is just thinking Preston's the best thing since sliced bread. He's eating up this entire persona Preston's putting out there. And Preston, by nature of his predator type, is just rolling with every punch that the guy's throwing at him and just slowly drawing him further and further into the, hey, we should go talk quietly, and kind of drawing that person out like to make out or etc. And so these guys go down the staircase right by your booth, get halfway down so you can't really see them when you're walking by, and nobody can see them downstairs when they walk by either. And that's where Preston gets them. And you go into the neck, you can smell the blood, and it's the longer you're closer to this guy, the more you just want to rip his throat out. But you manage to pull in and just do a nibble, and then you get a chance to get a bite on him. And the question is, how much hunger do you want to slake from him?
How does it work? If I to what point will I like knock this dude out of commission for the night? Like, I don't want to shit where I eat. I feed here often, so.
Yeah, you don't want to really mess the whole area up. So the maximum you can take from one person and not have them be like in danger of their health, like giving out, their body giving out them, is 2 hunger slaked. If you take more, 1 to 4, you can potentially kill them or put them in the hospital. You start doing ag damage essentially at that point.
All right, I'll take 2 then.
All right,
and that way, at least if he's like too tired and not feeling good afterwards, like, oh, go home. You're not feeling good. You caught something. I'll call you later. And then, of course, I don't call him.
Yeah, so it takes roughly about an entire scene to pull that off safely. So you guys are going at it in the stairwell essentially, and for Sullivan above this, that smell of freshly spilt blood is hitting the air again. Now, this is going to be that same sanguine resonance because that's how Preston got him down there. You know, it was this like enticing, like, hey, let's mess around in the club. And there's that excitement in the air, and that kind of fills that blood and leaves that scent just kind of wafting up from the stairwell. For Sullivan, it doesn't make it any easier to deal with hunger too. It actually makes you kind of go, you son of a bitch. And part of you wants to go down there and just drain this guy and just be done with it, both of you. And be completely fine and be happy, sate your hunger, sate your beast, but you manage to kind of push that down because I know that Jeff doesn't want a frenzy. So,
I don't want a frenzy at all.
so as you're up here with your other tormented artist friend who's drawing and kind of slowly luring the occasional gaze of the passerby, I need you to roll your charisma and persuasion.
Modifier.
5. Wow.
Damn,
okay.
nice roll.
So you're just being the friendly guy. You're kind of in with this whole like ambiance that your two friends are putting up, your broodmates. But what's funny is you're getting the people who are more like touristy to this place. They're looking for a friendly face, and that's what Sullivan manages to be. You're not the artist type. You're not the hardcore rocker or the rivet head. You're just a dude who's just out here with some friends who's just laid back and friendly. And you get this girl who is with one of her friends, and you kind of catch the eyes from across the bar. You get up, leave Lamont by himself, and go to kind of make small talk. And essentially, you basically have her pliable with the power of your charisma, and you do have presence. So not even though you're flexing it, it's just kind of that unconscious, you're a very personable, individual that kind of is drawing them in. You have a couple options here. Now, to take up to 2 blood, to take up to 2 hunger slaked, it's going to be like a scene.
I only need to take 1 because if I take 2, that means I've killed her because I've only 2 hungry.
Okay.
So I only need to get 1 hunger.
So you're just looking for like a quick bite, like a to-go thing.
Right.
So your options here are the spiral staircase that goes downstairs, the bathrooms, or leaving the club.
I think we'll use the spiral staircase as well.
So just so you're aware, the spiral staircase is the main one that people go up and down to get upstairs. The staircase that Preston and his victim are at is the one that's for the staff that goes right beneath the booths.
No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally take 2 steps down the stairs and like playfully grab her arm and twirl her back up towards me onto my lap on the stairs, and that's where we're going to
and just sit there and be like, yeah, conk.
That's where we're going to neck. But I'm also using level
Lingering
2
kiss.
presence. Lingering kiss.
You're gonna do this.
Yes. She's gonna become a close friend.
That's pretty rough. So you and Natalie have a little moment at the tops of the stairs. You use your lingering kiss. But when you have to go, when you're done in probably like a minute or 2, just enough. You're not drawing out too fast, but you also want to, not linger here as, for longer than necessary because people are using these stairs. When you finish up, she's a little tired. Obviously you drained an entire like hunger's worth of blood out of her. She's not like woozy or falling over, but she's just like a little relaxed. She just settles in against you. And when you're like, I gotta go, she's like, oh, really? Do you have to go?
Listen, it's okay. I'll kind of lean in toward her ear again and be like, listen, I really like you. I want you to call me. And I'll reach my hand out for her phone and I'll put my number in there. And I'll give her phone a kiss and hand it back to her.
She's like pleased as shit when you do this. She's like, all right, well, I'll hold you to that. She gets up, kind of pats you on the head, and walks back into the upper level bar while you're sitting on the stairs.
I'll just give a little smirk, proud of myself, and I'll go back to the booth with the guys because I assume we're leaving in the not too distant future.
Well, as you come back, you realize as you walk by that staircase, you kind of lean over and look down. Preston's still necking with this dude in the stairwell. And you can see like there's a small series of bites along this guy's neck. Like he's just fucking bite a little bit, bite a little bit, bite a little bit, and it's just leaving like little trickles of blood down this guy's front of his shirt.
As long as he remembers to clean that, I don't give a shit.
Lamont
Yes.
is pulling the drawing still. You definitely get some attention, but it's
Yes.
one of those situations where unless you want to follow up on it, it's more like they're admiring from a distance, too shy to approach. Because you have a smoldering presence about you with the
Right.
tattoos and everything.
No, I mean, I'm not really going to go out of my way to follow up on anything. I'll just do my thing. They're hunting. I'll let them do it. They don't need the competition, and quite frankly, we don't need that many kindred feeding in one place at the same time. So
Fair enough. So as the next 10 or so minutes wrap up, Preston finishes up with his boy toy, licks the wounds, makes sure they're all set up, and kind of walks with this guy back up because he's woozy. He's not falling down, but he's on that point where he's almost as if he's drunk. Like if this guy drinks now, he'll be drunk in one drink and he'll just be out for the night. But you help him upstairs. He just gives you a smile and is like, "Hey, can I get your number?"
Yeah, I'll get it to you.
Yeah, I'm down in Columbia, so like we can do lunch or something sometime. That'd be really, really cool. I want to see you again.
Oh yeah, totally. You you use WhatsApp or Kick, or you have Kick?
WhatsApp is pretty good.
All right. I'll give him a number.
A number?
Yeah.
Is it a real one, or are you bullshitting this guy?
I'm gonna bullshit him.
So he'll just kind of give you a smile and nod, and he'll kind of get pulled back into his friends. And they rib on him like, "Hey, where the hell have you been?" And they all look over in your direction. And he kind of blushes a bit. He's like, "Nah, it's nothing big. We're just going to hang out. It's cool." And they go to have a drink, leaving you guys sated down to one hunger each. You guys can hang out.
Oh yeah, I got all.
As you guys are kind of settling in and letting that blood kind of suffuse your bodies, you feel that, especially for Preston and Sullivan, it's kind of pushed down that hunger into like a lull, dull ache that's just at the edge of awareness. Especially for Preston, it's a huge relief to kind of push that hunger away. As you guys sate your hunger as much as you can currently without getting in trouble, you guys get an alert on your phones that your Gmail app has a voicemail. So Lamont checks it out, and it's just a dial tone.
Okay, I'll delete it.
Well, the
dial
dial tone for your guys' Gmail account, the Google phone line, is your dead drop, if you recall.
No, I didn't recall. So
You
thanks
can
for reminding
Yeah,
me.
so essentially, we were talking before, when you get, it's pretty much a dead drop notification that your contact within Clan Tremere is going to let you know when there's a drop in the lower whacker, basically dead drop for you guys. You just got a message to let you know there is one, which is just
Okay.
literally it calls up, leaves a dial tone, and this hangs up.
Works out because
Okay.
it's time to leave.
Yeah, I'll put my mechanical pencil in my coat and flip the notebook closed and put that in my coat. And I'll get up. I'll leave a couple of dollars and change on the table.
Okay. You guys head back out towards the car. You make your way down the stairs, out that front door. As you're leaving, like a lot more people are coming in. Like that downstairs is pretty much getting well and good crowded at this point. You don't really see anybody else you recognize. It's just some of the regular patrons. So no one outside of the mortal realm, let's say. You walk out into the brisk air, step out on the sidewalk, and you start heading your way down to the car. Round the block, get to where the vehicle is parked. Sullivan hops in. The engine turns over just fine. You guys start heading out. And that wraps our first episode for our Baali game. Now, the group did get some feeding done, had a proposition from Sun, the Malkavian Primogen, and now they're on their way to their dead drop to pick up a message from their Tremere contact. After they pick up the dead drop, some things start to go sideways in ways that I didn't expect as a storyteller, and I know for sure they did not expect as our characters. So join us next episode to see what type of bad